Alright, welcome back everyone. So this is a quick tutorial on how to use Excel to make a data table. And the neat thing about this is that if I go too fast, you can just pause the video and rewind. Alright, so we're going to put distance in A4, and we can auto size our column by clicking between the letters in the heading. And then we're going to put in, for example, 8.0, 16.0, and 24.0. The problem is that Excel is losing the zeros. So we click and drag to select all three, and then we right click, we format cells, we want to go to number, and then we want one decimal place. Unfortunately, Excel doesn't do a great job with sig figs, so we have to kind of do whatever we want for each cell. The next thing is we're going to apply this pattern of going up by 8. So we're going to highlight those three cells, and then to apply a pattern you move the cursor until the highlighted cells, the cursor looks like a little black plus sign, and you click and drag down as far as you want that pattern to go. It's very important to note that if you just type in one number, that's not enough for Excel to see a pattern, and so what's it going to do? It will copy that same number. Okay, so now we want to put in the times. And here's another example of applying a pattern. We have trial 1 and trial 2, and I don't want to type all of them, so I can highlight, go here, and take it all the way over to trial 10. I'm also going to auto size, and you can also move these columns by hand, but this is pretty convenient. Okay, then we're going to label this with time in seconds, and we're going to click on that and go all the way across here, and we're going to merge and center it. Okay. Likewise, this is not something I did in class, but we'll call it Zany Zircon Zingers data table, and we want to do the same thing for this. So I'll click on the first cell and highlight them all and merge and center. Okay. Then I'm going to put in my numbers, and I'm just going to make these up. So 0.070 tab, 0.071, 0.068, 0.070, 0.065, 0.073, 0.071, 0.070, 0.074, and 0.068. Okay, so one thing we want to fix is the fact that it's rounding to the wrong place. So we're going to select all of where our data is going to be. Going to right click, format cells, go to number, and now we want 3 decimal places everywhere. Okay, so that should do it. So that means that any other number we type in anywhere, like 0.1 for example, automatically will be rounded correctly. Okay, and let's just say that we have more data here, 0.140, 0.135, 0.136. I'll just make up a few more. Okay, so now next thing I'm going to do is find the average times. So it's going to be the average time in seconds, and I'm going to auto size that. And this is where we're simply going to use the Excel function to average. So we do equals average parentheses. Now there's two ways to do this. One way to do it is to click on the first value and then drag to the last one and close the parentheses. And just so you can see that, I need to scroll over a little bit. Notice how it says from B5 to K5, and I hit enter. Okay, and I can take that equation and apply it by clicking and dragging to all of the data table. Now it's going to say divide by 0 for these points because I don't have any data in here. Once I put some number somewhere, well, now it doesn't have to divide by 0 because it's taking an average. So the average of 0, well, that's undefined. Okay, so now let's do the next column, and that's going to be the uncertainty, and that's also in seconds. Now this one you may have to rewind. I'm going to do it kind of quick. Okay, we want 1 parentheses, and then we want the maximum value parentheses from cell B5, notice how it's highlighted now, colon to K5. Notice how the entire range is highlighted. Now we're going to subtract the minimum, and we're going to do the same thing from B5 to K5. And now we're going to put another parentheses. Whoops, I gotta move this over a bit. Okay, hopefully you can see that now. So there's 2 parentheses. Okay, and we're going to divide the entire thing by 2. This will give us half the range. 0? How can it be 0? Well, we just don't see enough of it. Okay, so you can make that a little bit wider. Okay, and then finally we can find the average time squared, which is going to be in seconds squared. And to get the caret, what I'm doing is shift 6. Okay, so to find the average, I'm going to type equals. I'm going to take my actual average, shift 6, and then put in a 2. So that's going to take the average time and square it. And again, I can't see that much. Okay, I probably want more than 2 sig figs, so I'm going to format, and I can see my preview here, my sample. There's my 3 sig figs, so it's not necessarily the number of decimal places. Okay, and then we can take this and drag this equation all the way down, and my numbers won't make sense down here because I don't have anything, and I can take this number and drag it all the way down. Okay, and again, you may have to edit these to have the right number of sig figs. Okay, like this one, for example, should be 0.0196. So we have to take off a sig fig, and instead of 5, we want 4 decimal places. So that's one thing that Excel does not do very well. There are ways around this, but we'll talk about those in later videos. So that's it.